Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you for joining us once again on our virtual midweek program and for the continuation for our series on the 12 Mahajans. Today, we are moving on to part 5, where we'll be learning about Kapila Dev from one of our great speakers here in ISKCON Atlanta, His Grace Adi Gadadhar Prabhu. Adi Gadadhar Prabhu doesn't need an introduction. He is a beloved member of our community, a beloved leader, mentor, and also a very good congregation director that we all appreciate so much. Before Prabhu begins his class, I just want to make a small announcement, just so everyone knows to stay on at the end to hear more details about it. We're very proud to announce that in ISKCON Atlanta, we will now be bringing back in-person Sunday program beginning this Sunday, and we're very grateful to His Grace Adi Gadadhar Prabhu, who will be our speaker on Sunday as well. So stay tuned to the end of our program. We will be giving you more details. So without further ado, Adi Gadadhar Prabhu, if you are ready, please go ahead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Am I audible, Karthik Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, completely.
Krishna, dear devotees, on behalf of Srila Prabhupada and ISKCON Atlanta, we welcome all of you for our midweek Wednesday Hari Katha. And we are having an ongoing series discussing the glories of the 12 Mahajans. And today we are going to discuss about the glories of Lord Kapila Dev. So before we begin, let us chant our auspicious Mangalacharan prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shri Mate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tvise Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So dear devotees, We will be discussing about the glories of Lord Kapila Dev, who is one of the 12 Mahajans, as described in the 6th canto of Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam. Let us begin by reading a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. I will be sharing my screen, dear devotees. So we will be reading from Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 25, verse number 7. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Devahutir Uvacha Nirvinanitaram Bhuman Asad Indriya Tarshana Yena Sambhavyamanena Prapannandham Tamah Prabho. Synonyms. Devahuti Uvacha. Shri Devahuti said, Nirvinna, disgusted, Nitaram, very, Bhuman, O my Lord, Asat, impermanent, Indriya, of the senses, Tarshana, from agitation, Yena, by which, Sambhavyam, being prevalent, Prapanna, I have fallen, Andham, Tamaha, into the abyss of ignorance, Prabho, O my Lord. So, Shri Devahuti is asking this question, is speaking to her beloved son, Lord Kapila Dev, who is the Supreme Lord. So, translation, Shri Devahuti said, I am very sick of the disturbance caused by my material senses. For because of this sense disturbance, my Lord, I have fallen into the abyss of ignorance. Devotee is saying, I am sick and tired of this materialistic life and ignorance. Please enlighten me. Purport by our beloved founder Acharya, Om Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtottara Shri Srimad Abhay Charana Arvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. Purport. Here the word Asad Indriya Tarshana is significant. Asat means impermanent, temporary, and Indriya means senses. Thus, Asad Indriya Tarshana means from being agitated. Tarshanat means agitated by the temporary manifest senses of the material body. We are evolving through different statuses of material bodily existence, sometimes in a human body, sometimes in an animal body, and therefore the engagements of our material senses are also changing. Anything which changes is called or asat. We should know that beyond these temporary senses are our permanent senses, which are now covered by the material body. The permanent senses, being contaminated by matter, are not acting properly. Devotional service, therefore, involves freeing the senses from this contamination. When the contamination is completely removed and the senses act in the purity of unalloyed Krishna consciousness, we have reached Sad Indriya, or eternal sensory activities. Eternal sensory activities are called devotional service, whereas temporaries are called sense gratification. So Srila Prabhupada is clearly defining what is devotional service and what is sense gratification. Activities on a spiritual platform with our spiritualized senses constitutes devotional service. And when we act for our own sense gratification through our material senses, that is indriya tripti or sense gratification. Unless one becomes tired of material sense gratification, there is no opportunity to hear transcendental messages from a person like Lord Kapil. Shri Devahuti expressed that she was tired. Now that her husband had left home, she wanted to get relief by hearing the instructions of Lord Kapiladev. Hare Krishna. So before we go, Lord Kapil Dev replies to this inquiry by his beloved mother, Shri Devahuti Devi. Let us give a little brief background, my dear friends. Who is Srimati Devahuti? Devahuti, she is the daughter of Swayambhuva Manu. Swayambhuva Manu is the son of Lord Brahma, and he is the ruler of the whole world. He is Manu, he is the ruler of mankind. And Swayambhuva Manu is also one of the 12 Mahajans. So he's a great personality. So Devahuti is the daughter of Shatarupa and Swayambhuva Manu. So she comes from a very, very exalted family, the most exalted family in this universe. And the father of Lord Kapiladev is Kardama Muni. We read in the last line of the purport that after Kardama Muni left home, now Devahuti is asking these questions from her son, Lord Kapiladev. So let us briefly see the history of Devahuti. Kardama Muni is also one of the sons of Lord Brahma, and he was performing austerities in the forest on the banks of the river, holy river Saraswati. And he was a devotee of Krishna, Kardama Muni. And his method of worship was just sitting in the lotus posture and meditating on the Supreme Lord, Shri Vishnu, with love, meditating on Lord Vishnu. And he considered himself a servant of Lord Vishnu. And he did this for a long time. Being pleased with his devotional service, Lord Vishnu himself came to give darshan to Kardama Muni. Kardama Muni was sitting on the banks of the holy river Saraswati, and constantly, without deviation, without any break, he was just meditating on the transcendental form of Lord Vishnu. How Lord Vishnu is so beautiful, so merciful. He has very beautiful, soft lotus feet, which are decorated with tulsi leaves and tulsi manjaris. He is wearing a very beautiful yellow silk dhoti. He has a very beautiful golden ornamented waist belt. He has an effulgent uttariya, a cloth covering his upper body. There is the Kaustubh jewel on his chest. His chest is also decorated with the Shrivatsa sign, which represents Shri Devi or Shrimati Lakshmi Devi. He is very beautiful in his Chaturbhuj, four-armed form, holding Shankha, Chakra, Padma, Gada. His beautiful face is the embodiment of concentrated beauty. All the beauty of the world, as if it has concentrated into the beautiful form of the lotus face of Shri Vishnu. His eyes are beautiful, like a fresh lotus petals. His lips are reddish like the bimba fruit. His complexion is like the rain-filled cloud. He has beautiful locks of curly, soft black hair. He is wearing very effulgent earrings, and his head is decorated with the most beautiful golden helmet. golden crown. And he has a very beautiful, natural smile on the face. Lord Vishnu has a very natural, permanent smile on the face. We smile from time to time, but Lord Vishnu has a natural smile that never goes away. He's always happy. He's Ananda Murti, Lord Vishnu. So on this beautiful form, Kardama Muni was meditating with love. Oh my Lord, Shri Vishnu, I want to serve you. I am your servant, Dasosmi. He was meditating like that. And when Lord Vishnu came there, riding on the back of Garudji to give darshan to his devotee, Kardama Muni, he saw the severe austerities that Kardama Muni had undergone. Kardama Muni's body had become very thin and emaciated because years and years of fasting. He was wearing tattered clothes. His body was covered with dirt. And he appeared very frail, but still he was meditating very blissfully on Lord Vishnu. Seeing the austerities of his devotee, Lord Vishnu's heart melted with compassion, and tears of love started falling from the lotus eyes of Lord Vishnu. Generally, it is said that Lord Vishnu, you will never see tears falling from his eyes, isn't it? You will never see tears because he's Ananda Murti, Sat Chid Ananda Vigraha. But, my dear friends, out of love for his devotees, overwhelmed with love for his devotees, the Supreme Lord Krishna's love can manifest in the form of tears. When he sees his wonderful devotees, sometimes tears of love can come to the eyes. And Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto is the evidence, is the praman for this. Many years ago, when His Holiness Srila Jayapatak Swami Maharaj, he had just recovered with great effort and great difficulty from a very, very severe stroke. And for the first time during Kirtan festival in our Chandrodaya Mandir, ISKCON Mayapur Mandir, in front of the most merciful Panchatattva Atmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhakta Avataram Bhaktakhyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. When he stood up from his wheelchair with the help of his servants and he started leading Kirtan so beautifully, even though he had so much speech impediment because of the massive stroke that he had sustained. Srila Jayapatak Swami Maharaj was singing, leading Kirtan, and all the devotees witnessed from the lotus eyes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, seeing the ceaseless, untiring efforts of their intimate devotee, Srila Jayapatak Swami Maharaj. There were tears of love that manifest from the eyes of Sriman Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There are even photographs of that. So yes, this is possible. When Krishna sees the dedication and devotion and the austerities and the difficulties that his dear devotees undergo for the sake of others, yes, tears of love may appear in the beautiful lotus eyes of the Lord, who is always blissful. Krishna is called Smita Krishna, he's always smiling. But tears of love can come. These are tears of love and happiness. When Krishna's dear devotees undergoing austerities for the sake of others, like Srila Jayapatak Swami Maharaj, despite such health problems, he continues to travel, continues to preach every day, continues to initiate, continues to write books, continues to inspire devotees, continues to head projects and attend so many meetings. Why such trouble? Out of love, out of compassion, out of a sense of responsibility and mission. And when Krishna sees this commitment, oh, he's overwhelmed. He's overwhelmed. So Lord Vishnu was overwhelmed seeing the austerities of Kardama Muni And tears of love appeared in his beautiful lotus eyes, and they fell down. And where the tears of Lord Vishnu fell, a beautiful lake was created. This is called Bindu Sarovar. Bindu because they were drops of tears of Lord Vishnu. Tears for his dear devotee, Kardama Muni. A beautiful lake was created, Bindu Sarovar, right next to the river Saraswati. And then Lord Vishnu gave darshan to Kardama Muni, blessed him for his devotion. And Kardama Muni had received instructions from his father, Lord Brahma, that you should help me in creating population on this earth planet. So please accept a wife and produce children as a service to me. Brahmaji had instructed. One Mahajan is instructing another Mahajan. Kardama Muni also, he's a son of a Mahajan and he's a father of a Mahajan. His father, Lord Brahma, is a Mahajan and his son, Kapila Dev, is a Mahajan. So Kardama Muni also is as good as a Mahajan. So Brahmaji is instructing him that you should have children. So when Lord Vishnu appeared and asked him, what is your desire? Kardama Muni thanked Lord Vishnu for giving darshan and begged him that if you so desire, please allow me to get married so I can perform my service to my father, Lord Brahma, who is your dear devotee. Lord Vishnu said, so be it. I have already arranged for your marriage. I have found a very qualified girl for you. Her name is Shri Devahuti. She is the daughter of Swayambhuva Manu, another Mahajan. Another Mahajan. And since the time Devahuti has heard about your qualities, my dear Kardama Muni, from Narad Muni, another Mahajan. Just think about this. It's a society of Mahajans. Narad Muni goes to Swayambhuva Manu and glorifies Kardama Muni. Devahuti hears the glorification and the devotional service of Kardama Muni and develops a desire that if I were to accept a husband, it must be someone who is a devotee of the caliber of Kardama Muni. I want to marry him. So Lord Vishnu tells Kardama Muni, since the time Devahuti, the daughter of Swayambhuva Manu and Shatarupa, since the time she has heard about your devotional qualities from Narad Muni, she has developed a desire to marry you. And it is my desire that you should marry Shri Devahuti. She is the right wife for you. She is very qualified, very chaste, very well behaved, very pure, very effulgent. So please marry her. Please accept her as your wife. And Swayambhuva Manu and Shatarupa will themselves come and give their daughter in marriage to you very soon. Saying this and giving him further instructions and blessings and predicting that in this life you will achieve me, my dear Kardama Muni. You will have 9 daughters from your wife. And then your 10th child will be I myself. I will myself appear. My name will be Kapila Dev as your 10th child. And when I appear, your duty to your wife is over. You must go to the forest and meditate on me like you have been doing all these years. And then very soon you will attain me. And as far as your wife is concerned, I will take care of her as her son, as Kapila Dev. I will take care of her. I will instruct her. And I will make sure that she also goes back home, back to Godhead. Saying this, Lord Vishnu went back to Vaikuntha. As soon as Lord Vishnu went back to Vaikuntha, Swayambhuva Manu, along with his wife Shatarupa, came. And they requested Kardama Muni to accept their daughter Devahuti as a wife. And Kardama Muni accepted on the condition that after the 10th child is born, 9 daughters and 1 son is born, he will retire to the forest to perform undeviated devotional service, concentrated devotional service. Tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusha param. And Swayambhuva Manu gave permission and blessings, and the marriage happened between Kardama Muni and Devahuti. After marriage, now Devahuti is the daughter of the king of the world. Devahuti is the daughter of the king of the world. Swayambhuva Manu, she is Manu's daughter. And she was brought up in topmost comforts and luxuries. Now to live in the forest under a tree with a sage like Kardama Muni was extremely austere. It was very difficult for Devahuti. But she was such a chaste wife, pativrata, such a chaste wife that she tolerated it happily with a smile on her face. Kardama Muni would go for days on end into a trance of meditation, not coming out to external consciousness, which means no food, no water. And she would not eat or drink unless her husband had eaten. So she would also fast, waiting when will her husband come out of the meditation. And whatever Kardama Muni required for his worship of Lord Vishnu, flowers, tulsi leaves, whatever he required, Devavati would do it. She also took bath in the Saraswati river. She also wore tattered clothes. Her body also became very emaciated and weak and thin and frail over the years with harsh austerities. One day when Kardama Muni, after many, many years, came out to external consciousness, he noticed that his wife had become very weak. He told her, my dear wife, Devahuti, I am very pleased with your chastity, very pleased with your service. Ask me for any benediction. Devahuti, being inspired by the Supreme Lord, Shri Vishnu, spoke to her husband, Kardama Muni. My dear husband, if you so desire, please give me some children. Because it is the duty of a chaste wife to have children for her husband, because Lord Brahmaji had instructed you that he wants you to have children. Kardama Muni said, yes, I will certainly fulfill your desire. And by his own power of bhakti, his yogic powers, Kardama Muni created a beautiful city in an aeroplane, huge aeroplane, like a city. It was huge with palaces and lakes and parks and roads and everything. But Kardama Muni had a very frail body, very weak, and so did Devahuti because of their austerities. So he told Devahuti, go to that beautiful Bindu Sarovar, which has been formed by the tears of Lord Vishnu and the holy water of Saraswati river. Take a bath in the Bindu Sarovar. As soon as, okay, I'm getting a message that my voice is getting cut. Is that so? Gagan Mataji, is my voice getting cut?
A little bit, Prabhuji. I thought it was my VPN or something, but yes, there is some.
Okay, what I can do is I can join from, let me join from another, this, I'll join from my phone in that case. Give me 1 second. Is it better now? Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, Prabhuji.
All right, thank you. So I will just use my phone.
Oh, could you take your phone so that you can keep it on landscape?
Oh, keep it, okay, keep it like this.
Yeah, that's better.
1 second, I need some support. Okay, is that okay?
That's good.
Okay. So what were we discussing? Can someone just remind me? I lost my chain of thought.
Where Prabhuji, Kardama Muni created the plane and.
Yes, thank you. So Kardama Muni, he created this aerial city, plane, and when Devahuti took bath in Bindu Sarovar, immediately she attained a very youthful body, very beautiful body. Her hair became very beautiful, lustrous, thick, black. Her complexion was glowing. She was adorned in a very beautiful sari. She was decorated with priceless jewels, and there were hundreds of maid servants who appeared from Bindu Sarovar to serve her. And they all got on the airplane. And Kardama Muni himself achieved took on a very beautiful, youthful body and actually expanded himself into 9 Kardama Munis to reciprocate with Devahuti, and gave Devahuti lot of comforts and luxuries which she had missed all these years. And then in due course of time, she gave birth to 9 daughters. And then After performing more prayers and devotional service, Kardama Muni finally requested Lord Vishnu to enter the womb of Shri Devahuti. And then Devahuti became the mother of the Supreme Lord, Kapiladev, and Kapildev appeared. After Kapiladev appeared, Kardama Muni took him to a secluded place, offered his obeisances, and circumambulated Lord Kapiladev and requested him that now that you have appeared, my lord, if you give me permission, I will fulfill your orders of going to the forest and engaging in exclusive devotional service unto your lotus feet. And Kapiladev gave his blessings, and Kardama Muni retired to the forest. So one may ask a question, why did Kardama Muni go to the forest? Our acharyas explain, Srila Prabhupada explains, it is to set an example for all of us, that even if we may have the most chaste wife and the most wonderful daughters and son in the whole world, but still renunciation has its own place. And there is no way around renunciation. We must renounce. At a certain age, we must renounce family life. And we must give up the comforts and luxuries of this world to engage in exclusive devotional service. So Kardama Muni left. And our acharyas also give a very sweet reason why he left for the forest. They say that he had a dasya bhav for Krishna, for Lord Vishnu. And when Lord Vishnu appeared as his son, that bhav was mixing with Vatsalya. And because Kardama Muni did not want rasabhas, he did not want mixing of rasas, mixing of mellows. And he was perfectly happy in his dasya bhav, and he wanted to maintain his dasya bhav. But as a father, he could not maintain dasya bhav. It was Vatsalya. So he left. He left. And he also wanted to teach us that it is a higher principle to serve the instructions of the Lord and to remember the Lord and to think about the Lord than to be in his personal presence. Service is more important than enjoying the company of the Lord. So to teach these principles, Kardama Muni left. Now after Kardama Muni left, all the 9 daughters, they were already married to 9 sages, through whom they begot many progeny, many children to populate the world. So that service that Kardama Muni and Devahuti had for Lord Brahma was fulfilled. They had 9 daughters who got married to 9 sadhus, 9 sages like Angira Muni, Kratu Muni and others, and they produced many children as a service. Now the 10th child is Lord Kapiladev, who is the topic of our discussion today, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now he was there with Shri Devahuti Devi, and Devahuti was now feeling scared because her husband had left for the forest, all the 9 daughters were gone, and she knew that Kapildev also has come to teach Sankhya philosophy to the whole world, because Lord Kapiladev said that this knowledge of Sankhya has been lost, and one of the purposes of my incarnation is to revive that knowledge. So I have come. So she knew that he will also leave home. So what will happen to her? What will she do? So she had that fear. She had that fear in her heart, and therefore she asked this question that we just read, that how do I dispel this aham mameti, this ignorance born from identifying with this material body and material senses? Then Lord Kapiladev, he gives a reply. I actually wanted to share the verses, but now from this phone, let me see how I can do it. So I wanted to show verse number 3.25.13, where Lord Kapiladev is going to speak, reply to his mother. So this is text number 13. This is an important verse. So let me see if I can share my screen. Just bear with me 1 second. Share content. Prabhu, can you make me the co-host? Karthik Prabhu, please. So I can share. So Lord Kapila.
And if you want, I can share for you, Prabhu.
So 3.25.13. You can please share the verse. Sadananda Ramchandra Prabhu. Thank you very much.
1.3
or 3.25.13. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha yoga adhyatmikah pumsam mato nishreyasaya me atyanto paratiryatra dukkhasya cha sukhasya cha. In the interest of time, we only have 20 more minutes left. So we will just skip the synonyms and read the translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, answered, the yoga system which relates to the Lord and the individual soul, which is meant for the ultimate benefit of the living entity and which causes detachment from all happiness and distress in the material world, is the highest yoga system. So when Devahuti asked about the highest yoga system, how she could overcome ignorance, Lord Kapiladev, our Mahajan, is replying that the yoga system which relates to the Lord and the individual soul, the science of Jiva and Jagadish, is meant for the ultimate benefit of all living entities, because it is this knowledge of yoga system that causes detachment from all happiness and distress, all the dualities. So we will read the purport by Srila Prabhupada. In the material world, everyone is trying to get some material happiness. But as soon as we get some material happiness, there is also material distress. In this material world, one cannot have unadulterated happiness. Any kind of happiness one has is contaminated by distress also. For example, if we want to drink milk, then we have to bother to maintain a cow and keep her fit to supply milk. Drinking milk is very nice. It is also pleasure. But for the sake of drinking milk, one has to accept so much trouble. The yoga system, as here stated by the Lord, is meant to end all material happiness and material distress. The best yoga, as taught in Sri Bhagavad Gita by Sri Krishna himself, is called Bhakti Yoga. It is also mentioned in the Gita that one should try to be tolerant and not be disturbed by material happiness or distress. Tam stitikshasva bharata matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkhada. Of course, one may say that he is not disturbed by material happiness, but he does not know that just after one enjoys so-called material happiness, material distress will follow. Hare Krishna. Just like the seasons change, Shita Ushna. Shita Ushna. After winter, summer will come. After summer, winter will come. Similarly, if we are attached to material happiness, we have no choice but to face material distress also. We'll continue reading the purport. This is the law of material world. Lord Kapila states that the yoga system is the science of the spirit. One practices yoga in order to attain perfection on the spiritual platform. There is no question of material happiness or distress. It is transcendental. Lord Kapila will eventually explain how it is transcendental, but the preliminary introduction is given here. Hare Krishna. So now I would like to read just the translations, the verse and the translation, Sadananda Ramchandra Prabhu, from text number 19, same chapter, chapter 25, text 19 onwards. If you can share.
Yes, I'm sharing too.
You're sharing. Okay, thank you. Perfect. So now verse number 19. Now this is all what our great Mahajan, Sri Kapila Dev, is replying, is teaching his mother Devahuti. न युज्यमानया भक्त्या भगवत अखिलात्मनि सदृशोस्ति शिवः पंथा योगिनां ब्रह्म सिद्धये. So please listen very carefully, dear devotees. This is very important. This is Mahajan Vakya. These are the words of the Mahajan, Lord Kapil Dev. He's teaching us, through his mother, he's teaching all of us, perfection in self-realization cannot be attained by any kind of yogi unless he engages in devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For that is the only auspicious path. We have to engage in devotional service to Krishna. That is the only auspicious path. So Mother Devahuti inquired about self-realization. Shri Kapila Dev is saying self-realization is not possible unless and until we engage in devotional service to Krishna. Let's go to text number 20. Okay, so how do we get devotional service to Krishna? That's the question. Okay, so in text 20, Kapila Dev is saying, Prasangam ajaram pasham atmanah kavayo viduhu sa eva sadhushu krito mokshadwaram apavritam. Every learned man knows very well that attachment for the material is the greatest entanglement of the spirit soul. But that same attachment, when applied to the self-realized devotees, it opens the door of liberation. Hari Bol. Look, Kapila Dev is giving us the key to self-realization. Every learned man knows that attachment for the material is the greatest entanglement. So we all know that material attachments cause entanglement, correct? If that same attachment that people have for dhanam, janam, sundarim, kavitva, Mahaprabhu taught us, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam, va jagadishakamai. People are attached to wealth, money. People are attached to having a big friend circle and followers. Followers on Facebook, followers on Instagram, people liking, commenting, sharing. We are attached to that. Fame. We want followers. Everyone wants followers. So we are attached to dhanam, janam, sundarim. And we want to engage in sense gratification, sexual sense gratification. This world is called Maithuna Agar. It's a jail based on sexual pleasures. But Mahaprabhu says, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim. Kavitamva. Nor do I want to be known as a very learned person. Kavi means very learned person. We want to be known as someone very intelligent. But Mahaprabhu is saying, no, I don't want that also. I just want ahituki bhaktir toi. I just want birth after birth, just pure devotional service. So here Kapila Dev is saying that attachment that people have for dhanam, janam, sundarim, and kavitva, name, fame, sense gratification, that same attachment if we develop for who? Sadhushu krito. Same attachment if we develop for the sadhus, the devotees of Krishna, moksha dwaram apavritam. It will open the doors of liberation. It will open the door of self-realization. Text number 21, please. This is a very famous verse. All of you must have heard this verse, verse number 21. Lord Kapil Dev is instructing us. He is describing the qualities of a sadhu. So the key is we have to develop attachment for sadhus. Who is a sadhu? That is the question. Who is a sadhu? So text number 21. Next verse, please. Kapil Dev is saying, Titikshavaha karunikaha suridah sarvadehinam ajata shaptravah shantaha sadhava sadhu bhushanaha. Very beautiful verse. The symptoms of a sadhu, sadhu bhushanaha, symptoms of a sadhu are as follows. Titikshavaha, he is tolerant. Karunikaha, he is merciful. Suridah, he is friendly to all living entities. Suridah sarvadehinam, not just friendly to those who are favorable. Hare Krishna, very important point. It's easy to be friendly with someone who is reciprocating with us. But to be friendly to all living entities, that is the quality of a sadhu. Suridam sarvadehinam. Ajata shatravaha, doesn't have any enemies, doesn't consider anybody to be his enemy. Shantaha is very peaceful. Sadhava, and always abides by the scriptures. Sadhu bhushana. These are the qualities of a saintly person. These are the qualities of a sadhu. Sometimes we just call anybody sadhu. Oh, he's a sadhu. No, sadhu is a very deep term. This is a definition. Titikshavaha karunikaha suridah sarvadehinam ajata shatrava shantaha sadhava sadhu bhushanaha. These are the qualities. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 qualities are given. He is tolerant, merciful, friendly to all living entities, has no enemies, peaceful, and abides by the scriptures. One who has the 6 qualities is a sadhu. So now let us see how we can identify a sadhu by these 6 qualities. We simply have to study the life of our acharyas, and we can understand who is a sadhu, because Kapila Dev, our Mahajan, is instructing us that if we develop attachment to a sadhu and we associate with a sadhu, we serve a sadhu, our life will become perfect. It will open the doors of self-realization in bhakti. So how do we practically understand what are these 6 qualities? So first quality is titikshava, peacefulness, tolerance, being tolerant. Tam titiksha swabharata. Titiksha means to tolerate. We have the example of Srila Haridas Thakur. How Srila Haridas Thakur was caned and whipped in 22 marketplaces. It is described that from morning to night he was being beaten for no fault of his. For no fault of his. All he was doing was sitting and chanting Hare Krishna. But the leaders of the society could not tolerate it. The Muslims could not tolerate it because he was a Muslim chanting the names of the Hindus, and the Hindus could not tolerate because he was a Muslim chanting the names of their gods. So he was hated by everyone. The Hindus detested him and the Muslims wanted him dead. So he was being beaten in 22 marketplaces from morning to night. The streets were stained with his blood. Mercilessly, the executioners were beating him. But Srila Haridas Thakur Mahashaya was very tolerant. He was praying for them, praying for benedictions, praying for blessings for the executioners. This is real tolerance. A tree tolerates. A tree tolerates, but a tree cannot give us liberation. Tree cannot give us Krishna Prem. But here is Haridas Thakur. He is being cut. He is being beaten and whipped by the executioners. And he's praying for Krishna Prem, for the executioners. He's praying for their highest good. Yes, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada has very famously said, "Let me not wish for anything but the highest good for my worst enemy." Hare Krishna. That is tolerance. Merciful. Srila Prabhupada was so merciful. What had the hippies done for him? Srila Prabhupada was almost 70 years old, living a retired life in Vrindavan. As a sannyasi, he had retired from family responsibilities and he was peacefully doing his bhajan in Sri Vrindavan Dham. He had his room in Seva Kunj in Radha Damodar temple. He had his circle of devotee friends in Vrindavan and he was living a peaceful life just like he wanted. What had the people of the Western world done for Srila Prabhupada? What had Americans done for Srila Prabhupada? What had Australians done for Srila Prabhupada? What had Africans done for Srila Prabhupada? What had the Europeans done for Srila Prabhupada? What had the Russians done for Srila Prabhupada? What had the Japanese done for Srila Prabhupada? Nothing. And yet, for their sake, he tolerated titiksha, tolerated seasickness, vomiting, starvation, heart attacks, strokes, inconvenience, cold weather, for their sake. This is called Karunika. Merciful, causelessly merciful. Causelessly merciful. They had not done anything for him. And yet, Srila Prabhupada gave everything for them without expecting anything from them on a personal level. This is Karunika, merciful. Surida Sarva Dehina. Srila Prabhupada was very merciful, even to those who were inimical to him. One time, there was an Indian person who would come for the morning walks in Juhu, on Juhu beach with Srila Prabhupada, an Indian fellow, a very educated fellow. And he loved to argue with Srila Prabhupada. Actually, yesterday I was hearing a Hindi lecture of Srila Prabhupada. It was actually a conversation that Srila Prabhupada was having with some Indians in Hindi. And these Indian, they were businessmen. They were telling Srila Prabhupada, why should we chant Hare Krishna? Those Westerners should chant because they are eating, they have a background of eating meat and illicit sex and intoxication and all those things. But we are pious Hindus. We don't need to chant Hare Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada chastised them. He said that if you don't chant Hare Krishna, thinking that you are pious, and the hippies who have broken all the 4 regulative principles are chanting Hare Krishna, then the hippies are better than you. And those businessmen to whom Srila Prabhupada was speaking, they got angry at Srila Prabhupada. And they started arguing with Srila Prabhupada and raising their voice at Srila Prabhupada. I was shocked to hear this conversation. It's on YouTube. They were saying, how can you say like that? Just by you saying that we are less advanced than the hippies doesn't make us less advanced. What do you think? Who do you think you are? Like that they were talking to Srila Prabhupada. But Srila Prabhupada was speaking the truth. If you think that you are a pious Hindu and I don't need to chant Hare Krishna, you are in a much fallen condition than a person, a hippie, for example, who is chanting Hare Krishna. That is a fact. That is a fact. Jai bhaje Krishna sai bada chatura. One who worships Krishna is really intelligent. Yomam vetti asamudoto janati purushottamam sa sarvavid bhajate mam sarva bhavena bharata. One who knows Krishna knows everything. You may be a pious Hindu, you may be a pious Indian, but if you don't worship Krishna, you don't know anything. You don't know anything. But one who worships Krishna knows everything. Sa sarvavid bhajate mam sarva bhavena bharata. Krishna says, Sa sarvavid, he knows everything. That is Srila Prabhupada. Suridam sarvadehina. Very merciful to them. So this person would come and argue with Srila Prabhupada on the Juhu morning walks. And one day there was a heated argument between Srila Prabhupada and this Indian fellow. From next day he stopped coming for morning walks. So Srila Prabhupada asked his associates that, where is he? He's not coming because you had an argument with him yesterday. That's all right. Invite him to our temple. Give him prasad. That's all right. Even though we may have had an argument, let him come. So Srila Prabhupada was Suridam Sarvadehinam. Even if someone was inimical, Srila Prabhupada was always very friendly. Same thing happened in America. One time one person came and had a heated argument with Srila Prabhupada, and then he stopped coming to 26 2nd Avenue. And then Srila Prabhupada was asking his followers that please go and call him back. Call him. It's okay. The argument is not personal. It's a philosophical argument. Please call him back. That argument should not take him away from Krishna. That was Srila Prabhupada. Very merciful. Ajata Shatrava Shanta. Ajata Shatrava. Ajata Shatra means one who has no enemies. So what is the meaning of this? That a devotee does not consider anybody to be his enemy. Srila Prabhupada does not consider anyone to be his enemy. That is called Ajata Shatru. People may consider a devotee to be an enemy, but the sadhu does not consider anyone to be his enemy. When Srila Prabhupada was in Calcutta, certain communists came there to create a ruckus, and they actually wanted to attack Srila Prabhupada. They picked up chairs and they wanted to attack Srila Prabhupada. But Srila Prabhupada wanted to do the best even for them. He closed his eyes and he chanted the Brahma Samhita prayers. Chintamanir prakhara sadma shukalpa vriksha lakshavrateshu surabhir abhipalayantam Lakshmi sahasra shata sambrama sevyamanam Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. This story is there in Srila Prabhupada Leelamrit. He closed his eyes and started chanting the Brahma Samhita prayers, meditating on Krishna. And hearing those prayers, even the communists settled down. They calmed down. They put down their weapons and they sat down. That is Shanta. Shanta. Very peaceful. Even in the midst of chaos, Prabhupada was very Shanta. And Sadhava always abides in scriptures. That is very important. It is said that Srila Prabhupada could have compromised instead of 4 regulative principles. If Srila Prabhupada had compromised, that all right, I will take away no illicit sex. And intoxication, okay, I'll take away tea, coffee. So if Srila Prabhupada would have compromised, he would have got so many more followers. So many more followers. And there are religious leaders, or there are so-called spiritualists who compromise to get more followers. But that is against the scriptures. That is Shastra Vidhim Utsrija. That is against scriptural injunction. And Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Ya Shastra Vidhim Utsrija Vartate Kamakarata Nasa Shantim Avapnoti Na Sukham Na Paramgati. One who acts against scriptural injunctions can never attain peace, can never attain the highest destination. Na Paramgati. Cannot. So therefore Srila Prabhupada was Sadhava, very, very in line with Shastra, very much in line with scriptural injunctions, never compromise on the 4 regulative principles. Bhagavatam first canto says 4 regulative principles, Srila Prabhupada emphasized the 4 regulative principles, no compromise. Minimum 16 rounds. Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhagavatam class, Bhagavad Gita class, Mangalarti did not compromise. Just exactly what the previous acharyas had given based on Sadhu Shastra, Srila Prabhupada gave us in ISKCON. Pure devotional service. Srila Prabhupada's ISKCON is a society of pure devotional service. This is not Karma Mishra Bhakti or Jnana Mishra Bhakti. Please. Srila Prabhupada's ISKCON is pure devotional service, uncompromising devotional service in the name of so many things nowadays, in the name of being relevant, in the name of building a bridge, in the name of outreach, in the name of time, place, circumstances. Sometimes we become a sadhava. Srila Prabhupada was sadhava. He was in line with the scriptures. Sometimes we speak what is not in the scriptures or what is even against the scriptures. No. In every purport, Srila Prabhupada talks about pure devotional service. Why? Because if someone doesn't read the full Bhagavad Gita, just reads one verse, that devotee should get the essence. So even in Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna is not yet talking about pure devotional service, Prabhupada talks about pure devotional service in the 2nd chapter, in the 1st chapter, in the 3rd chapter, in the 4th chapter. Prabhupada talks about pure devotional service out of his karunika, out of his compassion. So these are the qualities of a sadhu. And therefore, Lord Kapiladev, our Mahajan, is saying we should take shelter of such a sadhu like Srila Prabhupada and his honest followers. Then our life will become sublime. Our purpose of life is to follow in the footsteps of the Mahajans. Tarko apratishta shrutayo vibhinna nasha vrishiryasya matam na bhinnam dharmo hitesham dharmasya tattvam nihitam vihaya mahajano yena gata sapantha. In Mahabharata, it is mentioned in a conversation between Shripad Narad Muni and Yudhishthir Maharaj. Mahajano yena gata sapantha. Tarko apratishta. With tarka, with the dry arguments, we cannot establish the truth. Apratishta. Pratishtha means to establish. Apratishta means we cannot establish. Tarko apratishta. Shrutayo vibhinna. Scriptures are of different types. If you want to justify your statements, yes, you can find in scripture somewhere some justification to support your viewpoint. Because scriptures cater to people of different levels of spiritual realizations. So you can find some scripture that will support you. Shrutayo vibhinna. There are different types of scripture, so you cannot establish the truth. Tarko pratishtha shrutayo vibhinna. Nasha vrishyasyasya matam na bhinnam. That person is not called a rishi who has not given his own school of thought. There are so many different philosophies. So yes, people will keep on arguing because so many sadhus, so many rishis have spoken so many different things. You can keep arguing and give praman. Tarko pratishtha shrutayo vibhinna nasha vrishyasyasya matam na bhinnam. That's why dharmo hi tesham nihitam guhayam. Therefore, dharma tattva, the essence of dharma, remains guhayam, remains confidential, remains hidden. So what is the solution? The solution is mahajano yena gata sapantha. Tarko pratishtha shrutayo vibhinna nasha vrishiryasya matam na bhinnam dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam mahajano yena gata sapantha. Mahajano yena gata sapantha. Follow the instructions of the Mahajans. Follow in the footsteps of the Mahajans. And our Mahajan today, Lord Kapiladev, is telling us only way is to take shelter of a sadhu. So let us take shelter of Srila Prabhupada and his followers. Let us take shelter of our Guru Parampara and make our life perfect. I will stop here. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari. It is 7:59. So we have just 1 or 2 minutes. If anyone has any questions, Hare Krishna. You can stop the screen sharing, Prabhuji, if you want.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Can I ask a question, please?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Can you please explain time, place, and circumstances that you can, in your own words, because I hear this term like from other people. So, but I would like to understand when we should apply this, like time, place, and circumstances, and we say, okay, this is fine, just based on time, place, and circumstances. Can you give me an example from your practical experience, please?
Hare Krishna. I can give you an example from Srila Prabhupada's glorious life because he's our Acharya. He's our Mahajan. Srila Prabhupada was preaching 26th Second Avenue in New York in the early days of Krishna consciousness, and a very popular band came to meet him. Srila Prabhupada's followers like Mukunda Goswami and Brahmananda Prabhu, they somehow got a music band to come and meet Srila Prabhupada. And this band was extremely popular in those days in New York. The name was the Fugs. You can Google it. Don't listen to their music, but you can Google it. The Fugs, Fugs. This band came to meet Srila Prabhupada. And they were very influential. All their songs were about drugs and sex. Very, very a different type of tamasic music, as was common in those days, the 1960s and 1970s. So very, very vulgar lyrics in their songs, filled with references to sex and drugs. But they were very popular. They were very influential at that time on the social scene, and they came to meet Srila Prabhupada. Now, time, place, and circumstances. Srila Prabhupada was very respectful to them. Now, they were meat eaters, they were having illicit sex, they were gambling, they were intoxicating every day, and they were propagating these illicit things through their music and their songs and their example. So they came to meet Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada could have said, I don't want to see your face. Asat Sangha Tyag Ei Vaishnava Achar. One should not associate with non-devotees, so please go away. No, but time, place, and circumstances. Srila Prabhupada is a representative of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Gauravani Pracharine. He has come to spread the message of Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu said, Jare Deko Tare Kaho Krishna Upadesh. Amar Agya Guru Hai Tara Eidesh. Srila Prabhupada has come to give the holy name to the whole world, to deliver them on behalf of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his spiritual master, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So therefore, time, place, and circumstances, even though these Fugs were not qualified to meet Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada didn't need to associate with them, but still, Srila Prabhupada was very respectful. He welcomed them. He made them sit down and spoke to them very respectfully. And in the beginning, Srila Prabhupada was talking to them about how they can use music to attain spiritual perfection. Srila Prabhupada said, even our path is a path of music. Harinam Sankirtan. We are also, our movement is based on music, and you can also use music, your musical skills, to attain spiritual perfection. And they were very happy to hear this. This is very nice, they were saying. They were very happy. And the Prabhupada's disciples who were present in that meeting, they were praying that Srila Prabhupada should not talk to them about the 4 regulative principles, because they knew that that would be unacceptable to the Fugs, because their whole life was based on breaking those principles. So they were praying that Srila Prabhupada doesn't mention the 4 regulative principles. They were literally praying in their hearts during that meeting. And Srila Prabhupada spoke how music could be used to attain spiritual perfection. And that Srila Prabhupada said, you can make music and you can sing the glories of God through your music, and that will be beneficial to you and to the world. And they were very happy. They were liking it. They were listening. And then Srila Prabhupada said, but you must follow the 4 regulative principles. No meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, and no illicit sex. When Srila Prabhupada started explaining the 4 regulative principles, they looked down. They looked at each other, and they got up and left and never came back. Hare Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada used time, place, and circumstance to preach to them in a very respectful, dignified way. But Srila Prabhupada did not compromise. Srila Prabhupada did not compromise. It is not possible that everyone will accept Krishna consciousness. It is important that we present the sweetness of Krishna consciousness to the world as it is. In the name of bridge preaching, in the name of outreach, if we start speaking what Srila Prabhupada did not speak, then our preaching will not have the force of purity, because the force, the strength comes from purity. And we must speak, repeat Mahajan Vakya. We can use time, place, and circumstances to say it in a way that they will understand. But we have to present a truth. We cannot be ISKCON preachers and not talk about the 4 regulative principles. No, that is very shallow. That is not proper preaching. That is not in line with Mahajans. That is not Mahajanayana Katha Sapanta. We have to speak about the 4 regulative principles. We have to talk about chanting. We have to speak about Krishna. We cannot do bridge preaching, outreach, and give a 1-hour presentation and never speak the word Krishna. No. If those people never come back, at least if one class they hear something about Krishna, something about bhakti, that seed will be planted in their heart. And that we should do. Whether they come or not is their free will, but at least that seed should be planted in a nice way, in a way that they can accept it, they can understand it. So that is time, place, and circumstances. What should be done and what should not be done. It's okay to modify the presentation to make it relatable to them, but the substance should be preserved. The substance should not be compromised. If we are giving honey in a plain glass bottle and people don't like it, they want a nice decorative bottle that says organic honey, local honey, pure honey, this and that, and nice bottle with some staining on it and nice carvings on that bottle and nice lid and wrapped in a nice ribbon and whatnot. Do that, no problem. But the substance should be honey. Not that we give wine in that bottle. No, we have to give the substance. The substance is Krishna consciousness, Krishna Naam, Krishna Leela, Krishna Gun. That has to be given. Krishna Katha. Is that okay, Mataji? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for the wonderful answer, Prabhu. Next, we have Rashmi Mataji, who has her hand raised. Mataji, you can go ahead and ask your question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dhanyavad Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Prabhuji, my question is, recently we had Ganesh Chaturthi, right? And also we, in the morning, the 11th canto that you are reading, right? Like yesterday, there is there was when you were reading in the purport, it told that 100% we should be surrendered to Krishna, and also some demigod topic came in. So after that, I got this question. Like we celebrate, we celebrate this Ganesh Chaturthi, but I want to understand now that we are following Krishna consciousness, this bhakti process, bhakti yoga process. So is it okay to do the Ganeshji festival by asking to remove the obstacle on the bhakti path, or it still shows that to Krishna that I am still not completely surrendered? I had that confusion, Prabhu, if you could clarify. Hariba.
Yes, we can continue to pray to Lord Ganeshji to remove the obstacles from our path, because he is the Vigna Harta. In Brahma Samhita it is said, Yatpada Pallava Yugam Vinidhaya Kumbha Dvandve Pranama Samaye Saganadhiraja Vignan Vihantum Alamasya Jagatrayasya Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Even in Sri Chaitanya Bhagavad, there is a mention that when Jagai and Madai were delivered by the mercy of Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, and then there was that famous Sankirtan in which Lord Yamraj fainted, seeing that all the sins were gone of Jagai Madai. In that Kirtan, Ganeshji is there. Ganeshji is mentioned. He came and he was dancing in great ecstasy in the Sankirtan of Mahaprabhu. So Ganeshji is no doubt a very great devotee. He is the scribe of Lord Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva dictates and the scribe is Ganeshji. He wrote down the whole Mahabharata and understood it, which means he has completely understood Bhagavad Gita. He's very, very empowered personality, empowered by Krishna. Very, very empowered, very great devotee, Ganeshji. So we can pray to him to remove our obstacles on the path of Krishna Bhakti. And Ganeshji is fully empowered to fulfill those prayers, to remove the obstacles in our bhakti and to increase our Krishna prema. So yes, we can pray like that. But we must understand that Ganeshji is a devotee of Krishna. Just the other day, one devotee, initiated devotee on Ganesh Chaturthi, she offered bhoga to Ganeshji with a tulsi leaf on it. Now that is wrong. That is wrong. That is an offense to Ganeshji, that is an offense to Tulsi Devi, and that is an offense to Krishna. We should not do such things. Tulsi Govinda Charana Priya. Kaschid Tulasi Kalyani Govinda Charana Priya. Srimad Bhagavatam describes that she is Govinda Charana Priya. She belongs to Govinda. So we should not do like this. We should understand who is Ganesh. Ganesh is a very great demigod. He's a very great devotee of Krishna. And we should offer Krishna Prasad to Ganesh. If we want to make modak for Ganesh, we should make it. We should offer it to Radha and Krishna. And then offer the Mahaprasad of Radha and Krishna to Ganesh ji. Ganeshji's mother, Srimati Parvati Devi, is happy to receive the remnants of Jagannath in Jagannath Puri as Vimla Devi. What to speak of her son? The mother is having desire to receive the remnants of Jagannath. Jagannatha Swami Nayana Pathagami Bhavatume. Who wrote this Jagannath Ashtakam? Ganeshji's father wrote, Lord Shankar. Who wrote Muninda Vrinda Vandite, Radha Kripa Katakshak? It is Ganeshji's father, Lord Shankar, Lord Shiva. Who wrote Ram Raksha? Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva is a great devotee. Ganeshji is a great devotee. A devotee will never want to eat something that is not offered to Krishna. So we should never do these things. We should offer Ganeshji modaks that have been offered to Shri Radha and Krishna. Okay. Then Ganeshji will be happy. Yeah. So it's okay to worship, but we should worship with the proper attitude. Just like we worship our Guru Gan. We should worship Ganeshji. Ganeshji can be our Guru. He's a sadhu. He's a Mahatma. He's a Mahajan. So we should worship like that, with that attitude, as a devotee, as a great devotee.
Okay, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. I think I committed that offense, Prabhu. I didn't know, by ignorance. I think I put the tulsi leaf. I think I got used to. So I should ask forgiveness. With ignorance, I think I committed that offense.
Krishna Bada Dayama. Krishna is very merciful. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
So we have one more question by Champakalata Mataji. Mataji, you can go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for a nectarian class. I have a small question, Prabhu. If you, I want to ask you this question humbly, that like Prabhupada, when he preached four regulative principles to this band, he's Prabhupada. For us, how okay it is for us to tell someone who is completely new, completely out of blue moon, or we are distributing Bhagavad Gita sometimes, or like let me take an example. Last night we had a plumber over. We have no hot water in the house. So he took Bhagavad Gita, he took higher taste of book. But at the same time, I was able to tell him all four regulative principles, and he was very happy to hear and happy to accept that wholeheartedly. But at the same time, I have seen one or two persons personally where we have said four regulative principle to completely newcomer, and then they would never show up. So in our position, Prabhu, what would you recommend? Should we still, should we give some newcomer a little time and then speak, or as it is truth, what Bhagavad Gita says?
Hare Krishna. So these band, the thugs, they had come to receive, instructions from Srila Prabhupada. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada gave them the philosophy as it is, in a nutshell. You chant Hare Krishna, you glorify the Lord, and these four regulative principles are required. Srila Prabhupada told them. So at least they know what is the ideal. Now they can accept it and try to come to the level of four regulative principles, or they could reject. They decided to reject. It was too much. That's okay. But Srila Prabhupada was also preaching to his disciples at that time, because his disciples were standing there, right? So Srila Prabhupada, talking about the four regulative principles to the thugs, he was also talking to his own disciples, so that they know how to preach in the future. They should understand that we cannot compromise. Our movement is not a movement of compromise. So how, now this plumber who came, looks like he was receptive and he heard it out. So the emphasis should not be so much on the four regulative principles. First, Srila Prabhupada told them the sweetness of Krishna consciousness, told them the sweetness of music as an offering to Krishna. So that is a sweetness, that is the do's. So the do's have to be emphasized more than the don'ts. Do's and don'ts both are important, But just by talking about the don'ts, people are not attracted. People are attracted by the sweetness. And madhuram madhure bhyopi, mangale bhyopi mangalam, pavanam pavane bhyopi, harer namaya kevalam. What is sweet? Madhuram madhure bhyopi, harer namaya kevalam. It is Krishna's name, Krishna's leela that is sweet. Ananda leela maya vigrahaya, hemabha divya chavi sundaraya, tasmai mahaprema rasa pradaya, chaitanya chandraya namo namaste. Ananda leela maya vigrahaya. Ananda leela. There is ananda in the leela of Mahaprabhu and Krishna. So that sweetness has to be presented more. But the four regulative principles also have to be explained. So the emphasis should be on the do's, what we should do, where the sweetness is. Param Drishwani Varte, then they'll get the higher taste. But the negative restrictions, the don'ts also have to be taught. So both are important, but the emphasis should be on what is to be done. First chant, like that. Srila Prabhupada also, if we read Leelamrit, during the first initiation, Prabhupada was not so much emphasizing on the four regulative principles. He was emphasizing on chanting. Chant 64 rounds. And then slowly he made the four regulative principles, very strong. He said, don't even eat in restaurants. Prabhupada wrote on that blackboard outside in the in a storefront that don't even associate with non-devotees. It's there. The photograph is there in Prabhupada Leelamrit. Don't associate with non-devotees. Don't eat in restaurants. Prabhupada told them. That's heavy. There were no Govindas in those days. That's heavy. That's difficult. But Prabhupada told. But slowly, gradually. First emphasis is on sweetness. You hear Harikatha. You chant Harinam. Like that. So we have to use our intelligence. And this intelligence comes from sincere chanting and associating with senior devotees, advanced devotees. Is that okay, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu, but related to that, I'll just quickly ask that. So if somebody is coming first time, and I'm not sure how receptive the person is going to be right away, but is it okay to, yes, I mean, focus on do's, I completely understood. Thank you so much. But should we disclose should we preach about four regulative principles right away, or should we wait and become familiar with the person and then after some time tell them?
See, these thugs, we have to understand, these thugs were propagating breaking of the four regulative principles through their music. They were propagating free sex, intoxication, LSD. They were propagating these things. They were encouraging these things very actively through their music. Therefore, it was imperative for Srila Prabhupada to talk about the four regulative principles. Otherwise, when we meet newcomers, we should focus more on the sweetness of Krishna consciousness. And then when they get a taste of the sweetness, then we should tell them about things that will disturb that sweet taste. That is the sinful activities. Then we can tell them that these are four sinful activities. Meat eating is sinful, illicit sex is sinful, intoxication, gambling is sinful, like that. So let them get the taste of sweetness first.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for explaining. Thank you. I'm very grateful to you.
Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Prabhupada.
Thank you so much for the wonderful session on Kapila's teachings. It's usually a difficult topic to deal with because I think it also deals with the Sankhya philosophy, but I think primarily Kapila here discusses devotional service to the Lord and how that is the topmost. So thank you very much for the session. Devotees, please wait for a few minutes. We have some important announcements. And as Adigadar Prabhu and Karthik Prabhu mentioned at the beginning of the class, we are going to be having our Sunday programs in person now. So this Sunday, we have again His Grace Adigadar Prabhu, who's going to be with us. And we are going to have a question answer session, but also it is the disappearance day of his, Srila Haridas Thakur. So please be sure to attend the program. I'm sure Prabhu will be speaking about Srila Haridas Thakur as well, who is Namacharya. So please be there if you can, if you're comfortable. We'll be streaming it on Zoom and our ISKCON Atlanta page as well. Not sure if you're going to do it on Zoom, but we'll keep you posted on that. Next up, we have next week's class. Next week's class is going to be on the next Mahajan, who is Swayambhuva Manu. And that session is going to be given by Her Grace Radha Bhava Mataji. Before I come back here. The Sunday program starts at 11 a.m. in the morning. I know usually we have a evening program, but we felt that an afternoon program would make it easier for devotees to go back home, take some rest as well. So please remember the time of the program is 11 a.m. in the morning. We might start Kirtans earlier at 10:30 itself. So please feel free to come in earlier and join in for Kirtans. As I was mentioning, the session is the next session on the midweek program is on Swayambhuva Manu. And the session is going to be at 7 p.m. as usual. So please join us next week. Also, we have our weekly Kirtans with the Kirtan team here in Atlanta, ISKCON Atlanta. The Kirtans happen from 6 p.m. every Sunday up until the darshan closes. So please come and join us, or you can catch up on the ISKCON Atlanta page or the Kirtan Atlanta page as well. As usual, you know that you can get in touch with all our media pages through our Linktree website, where you can access all our Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, WhatsApp links just with a single click. So feel free to check it out. Prayers. Let's pray for the health of His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj, the health of Amala Bhakta Swami, Her Grace Govardhan Leela Mataji, Uttama Radhika Mataji, all the doctors who are still fighting COVID, and those we have not been able to mention. Speaking of COVID, also please remember that masks will be mandatory for everyone who's coming to the temple. And also we'll try to maintain as much social distancing as possible. So for the devotees here, let's just chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra 3 times together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So once again, we thank you all for attending our midweek program. We thank His Grace Adhikar Prabhu for the wonderful session. And we look forward to seeing you at our Sunday program and the following midweek program as well. The midweek program is still going to be an online program. So feel free to join us. Hare Krishna.